If you're going to be starting a new business, then you're going to need resources to start and develop your business. Whether it's people, cash, equipment, space, or raw materials, you'll need to be able to tap into these types of resources. The most challenging time for accessing resources for any entrepreneur is the early startup stage. This period is sometimes referred to as the Valley of Death, as many startups fail to eventuate during this period, as they're starved of resources as they need to develop. The question of what types of resources an entrepreneur might need is too broad and dependent on too many factors to be answered satisfactorily here. Instead, we'll look at two important questions applicable to all entrepreneurial ventures. The first is, do entrepreneurs need to have all the resources in place that they need when they start their ventures? The evidence has shown that most don't. And secondly, do entrepreneurs need to own the resources they require? Well, the short answer is not necessarily so. Entrepreneurs can take advantage of other people's resources, or OPR. You see, successful entrepreneurs understand the importance of using other people's resources in starting their ventures, wherever they can. You do not necessarily need to own these resources. However, it's important to remember that the quality of the opportunity and the entrepreneurial team will affect your chance of attracting the necessary resources. So, retaining a focus on the opportunity and the team is fundamental to success. Let's take a simple example. Say you want to open a bakery and you require specific equipment to make and bake breads and pastries on a large scale. Well, your options include purchasing this equipment outright or hiring it from someone else who owns it. In most cases, it'll make more financial sense for you to hire this, if at all possible, in the startup phase of your venture because it will lower the amount of funds you'll need and it will reduce your risk exposure. If you can't access resources that others own in developing your business venture, then these are resources that you don't need to pay for, or at least perhaps you can pay less for. And as we'll see in a later section, managing the balance between expenses, profit and cash resources is critical to success. Good entrepreneurs are resourceful. They think lean. So if you can do this, what are the implications for your business? Well, when you minimize your resource ownership, you'll likely have a reduced need for additional capital, which leads to reduced financial exposure for the business, and perhaps reduced dilution of your equity because of reduced need to attract an investor to provide funding. Flexibility in commitment to particular resources, such as technology, software systems, plant, or particular providers. Lower sunk costs if the decision is made to terminate the venture. A lower break-even point, that is, being able to generate profits earlier through reduced expenses for the same amount of revenue generated. Reduced risk of obsolescence of your resources. For example, if you're using someone else's resources and these begin to become obsolete, then you can look to move to another provider of less obsolete resources, if possible, and access theirs. All of these benefits are possible through accessing other people's resources rather than solely investing in your own. You don't necessarily need to put yourself into a financially difficult position by purchasing all of these resources during the startup phase. So, to paraphrase Howard H. Stevenson, entrepreneurship is the process of creating or seizing an opportunity and pursuing it, regardless of the resources currently controlled. This is a great way to look at entrepreneurship and the questions around resources. Why? Because it infers that as an entrepreneur, you need to focus on the quality of the opportunity and, if you can, identify a truly exceptional opportunity, and then you'll have a greater chance of attracting the necessary resources to develop your venture than if the quality of your opportunity is poor. And remember, if the quality of the team is also exceptional, then you are even more poised to attract the necessary resources to take advantage of the opportunity you've identified and help make your idea fly.